Hello to all my frontliners out there. I'm Chris, he's Mike, and you are back here with us for another Dark Avenger comic book review. Now, for those of you that were not on the haul this week, I did mention it there. I'll mention it here too. Because of Christmas and the holiday season, for the next couple of weeks, the haul videos, which we're going to try not to do it at least on the haul videos, but these episodes, the Dark Avenger comic book review shows, will be late because we are going to be we are super busy during this month. And honestly, we had our books read by Tuesday because, you know, we were supposed to end up on Frontline Live. Unfortunately, we missed out because we had to go do something, so we were unable to record on Tuesday, and then Wednesday kind of at the same thing at night. So, we have our books read sometimes, but we don't have time to record, or vice versa. Because of all the running around, we didn't have time to read all of our books, so we're trying to play catch-up. So, hopefully we will try to give you as many shows, hauls, and Dark Avenger reviews as soon as possible, even live show-wise. If we can get you guys this on a live show format, we will attempt to do that. This is going up on Friday. We're recording this on Thursday night. We wanted to record it last night. Unfortunately, we just didn't have the time to do it last night, so I apologize. Obviously, the books in this review were released on last Wednesday, which was
December 7, 2016, the first week of December.
And this week's books are already out. As soon as we finish this review, also our books also come a day later now because I've guessed the holiday season. So
right.
As soon as we finish this review, we'll be getting into the other books, and we'll be hardcore reading them and trying to get the review ready for next week. So Let's get into the books that came out this week.
And we're doing digitals.
As always.
With indies.
Alien Defiance, I forget what issue number is. 7. So we find out that the Doctor was impregnated in this issue with an alien, but we all saw that coming. But just like in Prometheus, which I have to admire, this comic proves that you can, if you catch it soon enough, you can take the alien out.
Really?
So the Doctor performs an operation on herself and takes it out.
Wow.
And then, of course, they start investigating it. They start examining. The Doctor heals herself, and then she starts to examine it. They obviously cryo freeze the alien baby. So that's not safe, and I have a feeling that'll lead into something in the future. But for right now, though, they freeze the baby, and the Doctor's doing all these tests on it and trying to figure out what, the aliens are. You have the other woman who's the soldier. She's sort of... It was an interesting issue. I will say it's a very interesting twist on aliens, taking us away from the main cast. The character in this book obviously knows of Ripley's daughter, Amanda, but it's only referenced here, and Sebastopol even is just referenced here in the Working Joes, but nothing really that connects directly into the game, the movies, anything. And I like that because it gives us a nice background with aliens.
Alright. Well, that sounds cool.
Now this, I have to say, I can't wait to see the next issue. Glitterbomb, issue number 4? Yeah, issue number 4.
Jim Zub? Because I see
Yes.
Zub.
Yes.
Yeah, because he did Samurai Jack. Oh, wow.
I like this issue. So the woman goes to this the lead star who she killed, by the way, in the last issues, memorial dinner or remembrance donation charity thing, and you see her talking to a bunch of old castmates, and we find out that she was obviously forced into a sexual thing with the main star of the show, and then it's her talking to all of the castmates about what she should do, and all of them are like, he's a big star, don't waste your time suing because the company will shoot you down immediately. And that's when she finally takes the stage. She comes out and says, he did this and this to me, and then the monster inside of her comes out, and she apparently infected other people who were there, who were not there, who were there, and they all had their own personal demons as well. What I don't understand is, unless the Son got it, because there was hints in this book that the Son might have it because he had his eyes kind of shadowed at a scene, I don't see how this could continue because, spoiler alert, even though it's a week late, the detective ends up killing her.
Wow.
In the end of the issue. So, what's next? Will we be getting, is this going to be a story that has, multiple situations where this monster or this demon possesses other people? I mean, because if that's the case, then that means that this was just the first story of many others that could be in the works.
It could be.
So it's not going to be a continuation with this woman, and that sounds interesting, and I'm interested in seeing what happens next.
This one I knew you were going to read.
I feel bad I didn't get it physically. I really do, and I'm gonna... I think I got issue 2 physically, but I might actually wait and get this as a trade paperback instead. Like we're planning to do in 2018. Hookjaw, issue number 1.
2017.
17, yes.
Yeah.
Hookjaw, issue 1 from Titan. It's about a team who's observing sharks. It always starts that way. Scientists examining shark behavior, yada, yada, yada. They get taken over by pirates while they're doing their research. And I love how the main scientist woman's like, this happens all the time. Don't worry about it. Just ignore them. They go away. We have nothing of value, so they end up leaving. But then the Navy SEALs come and get involved. Honestly, this was an interesting setup. The Navy SEALs end up getting involved, and they end up killing all of the pirates. Like, it becomes this big fight back and forth between the pirates and the Navy SEALs. And they end up taking the lead scientist hostage. And the Navy SEAL guy, who's a total, pardon my language, a jackass, he's like, they'll send a ransom, she'll be fine, give it a couple of days, and, we'll pay it, and they'll bring her back, and that's it. And, we'll promise not to attack, whatever. So then, with all the gun shooting and all the fighting, everything on the boats, dead bodies are falling overboard, and you got the blood in the water, and you got the sharks. Well, the scientists at the beginning of the issue were saying they thought Dorothy, who was one of the sharks, was the leader of the pack. And sharks don't work in packs. That's not how they work. Or I forgot, they said that these sharks were not working in unison. Well, we find out that they actually were working in unison. And not only that, but there was a bigger shark that was leading the pack. And that's Hookjaw. I cannot wait. I'm telling you the truth. I honestly am contemplating, depending on how our order is, not money-wise, on February, if it's not bad, I will go back and buy issue 1 of Hookjaw and continue getting it physically, because I think it's only a 5-issue miniseries. There's going to be a lot of shark books that come out, actually, at the beginning of this. This, Atoll, I gave up on because they kept allocating it, and there's White, which I believe all of those books I think I've already got all of the parts from DCBS except the last one, so that's going to be another interesting book. Going back to Aliens, Predator, Judge Dredd, Aliens, issue number.
Verses.
They're all verses. It's all verses, all. But honestly, aliens are not involved in this as much as you think. The dark scientist ends up creating aliens, and Judge Dredd ends up getting free because his friend who was turned into an alien actually still has a little bit of his mind left, so he frees Judge Dredd, but then obviously he loses it. And you got the Predator alien as well that's still out there. So you got the Predators who show up to help Judge Dredd and his people, who actually capture the scientist. Easy. And then you got them chasing after the 2 aliens. Then you get the scientist who broke free and stole the Predator's ship. And not only did he steal the Predator's ship, but he releases the other aliens on the world. I really like this. This is a very thick book. I will say that the artwork's really good. The story's really artwork, and all the books I've talked about so far is really good. I can't wait for the next issue. I'm enjoying it. It's a nice little 3-way verses. This is only getting an honorable mention. Issue. Yes, this is only getting an honorable mention because I still have a little bit to read. Samurai Brothers in Arms, issue number 4. I am really digging this issue. In this issue, the samurai goes after the girl that he lost, that was sold to that other group. And it turns out that the woman is so jealous, she actually sends... I forget who she sends. She sends somebody to hurt the samurai or to capture him. And it becomes this whole ordeal. And that's kind of where I'm up to right now, reading-wise. The reason I put this book in my reviews, even though I say when I casually read something I don't, is because I love the artwork and I really like the story, and I think you guys would really, really enjoy it. Remember that samurai thing I read a long time ago with the vampires?
Oh, you mean the Bushido?
Bushido, yes.
Bushido, yeah. That was wow.
I love samurai books. Even
Bushido.
Even Usagi Yojimbo, I love that.
Yeah, that one's another good one you said.
Now, remember I said I was missing one book from Revolution? Well, here it is. Revolution, Transformers, More Than Meets the Eye. you don't need it. Unless you are reading Transformers, you do not need this book. There is a cover. I obviously got the book physically before reading this from Midtown. And I needed it anyway because it completes the full rundown of Revolution. And I wasn't going to be minus one book. If I have that other Transformer book and that terrible artwork G.I. Joe book, you're damn right I'm going to get this book. It has nothing to do with nothing. Honestly, it's really more of what happened after Revolution. At least that's what I was getting at. I read this book first, and I read it it's a week and a half ago. So I'm a little foggy on it. But the point is, if I'm forgetting about the book, it's a forgettable book. My advice, if you didn't get it, if you're not a Transformers fan, wait for Revolutionaries. I was going to say don't get it. But if you are a Transformers fan, you might want to get a Grimlock's in it. That's another reason why I had to read it. I love Grimlock, and I liked his parts. But he didn't play a major, role in what was going on. So again, up to you guys. If you're Transformers, get it. If you're not, wait for Revolutionaries. It's not a big loss, honestly. In my opinion, though.
Alright, so now we're going to get to my books. Starting with Angry Birds Comics, issue number 12. And unlike the other Angry Birds, this actually had 4 stories. But they were like short stories. Like the ones that I can remember, because this is like a guilty read and mentioned here, a pleasure read, that they were learning about how to make plans for certain things, and then, of course the pigs try to get the eggs and they fail. There was the other story of Sugar High, where the king actually eats sugar and he gets like this sugar rush and everything, and he this close getting the eggs, but he didn't get it.
Oh, wow.
And then there was this other story about the mailman's like getting the mail, like only one person could read it. I'm like, okay. And then this other one was like another short thing. But it was a good read, though. I always have a fun time reading Angry Birds, and, just seeing them do their stuff and everything with getting rid of the pigs. I wonder if they're going to bring the monkeys in, because it's always against the green pigs, really.
They might. Who knows?
Because, there were monkeys, too. Now, this is the last issue of Volume 2 of Atomic Robo, issue number 5. Now, in Atomic Robo is trying to save Dr. Lou's project that has been yet to be what?
No, I looked at the next book.
Well, I like that one. But yeah,
good, okay.
Well, they try. So the robot's fighting against the guy with the energy blast thing, the one that's like the person that we saw from the first issue. And they have like this fight scene. Like that's what basically the whole thing is. To save Dr. Lou's project, but to also get rid of this guy that he's going against because he had too much energy and taking over and blah, blah, blah. So for that, of course, Atomic Robo wins and everything goes back to normal. But as Atomic Robo's team leaves, there was another mission that he has. I mean, it said the end, but it didn't have a question mark because I thought maybe there could be a Volume 3. I mean, there's probably going to be a Volume 3 because I didn't think there was going to be a Volume 2. Although maybe a little bit of a hint for Volume 2, but maybe there could be a hint of Volume 3, I don't know. But I would recommend you get trade paperback for all 5 issues if you read Atomic Robo like I have. And it's a really interesting book that I read for Atomic Robo.
Robot!
Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York, issue number 3. Now, this comic book was really funny, but also, like, you have the attack of the Snake Plisskens that we saw from last issue. And who's summoning all these Snake Plisskens? And we find out that it's Jack Burton. I remembered his name this time. Jack Burton's arch nemesis, Lopan. And the reason why he's doing that is because he wants Jack to be like, say, oh, I could attack you because he's dead, Lopan. And he can't hurt him unless his soul is there and dead. Unless he dies, So, the magic scroll, which is what this guy was looking for, Lopan has it.
Oh, he has
And they don't know that.
Oh, he does not.
So, as Snake was like saying, to attack him and all that and whatnot, excuse me, they actually need Jack Burton. And then they save him from that, and then that was the book. Oh, and Jack Burton actually plays fake Snake Plissken. Like saying, hey, we're all Snake Plisskens because he has some on his mind. With the eye patch and all. So, really cool book. Alright. Fate issue number 6. So in Fate, it's Faith against this girl who has demonic powers, from what we saw in the last issue. And there's like a whole thing about her story, about how she felt always rejected and everything else that was added to the story. And then there was like this heart-to-heart moment that she has with her, about even though you feel rejected, because there was an agent that was looking for her too, and the cat as well. So, there was just like a whole big thing about that. So Fate saves her and gets all that demonic energy out of her, and she goes back to normal and goes back to her parents, which I thought was really a heartfelt book. Really awesome. And it didn't say to be continued on the end.
It'll be next.
So I guess that's it. Now, this one was really interesting. Ninjak issue number 22. Or should I say a no-word book. No words. All pictures. Ninjak just going up against this clan who I don't even know what their names were. And finds, I think Roko was her name. I don't remember what her name was. And that was it. No second story, no anything. I'm like, okay. Less than a 2-minute read. Hellchild The Unholy, issue number 2. Now in this book, Angelica does talk with Jezebel. And Jezebel has a mission for her to attack this person. I can't believe I forgot his name. I think his name was Joseph. That's been causing chaos in the city. Mostly against other people. And can you give me a wall ball while you're out there?
I'm not going out.
Oh, I thought you were going out.
No.
Well, can you get me one? Because I have lots of books for this review. So she goes out there to try to find this person and to basically kill him. Because Angelica is known for killing people. I mean, she's Hades' daughter after all. And they find ways of getting to him and trying to defeat him and everything else. And they do manage to get there, but there's just like a lot of involved stuff. I don't want to give too much away because I want you guys to definitely read it. But lots of stuff happened in this issue. And let's just say that there was this guy who jumped out the window that died but actually came back to life. And this character might actually be a whole irony to the story. You have to read it to see what I'm talking about. The Jungle Book, which I was actually glad to see again. The 2016 Holiday Special for this issue. So, the Holiday Special...
Your water.
Thank you. So, the Holiday Special...
You can't.
Was just, talking
Got it perfect.
about the, Bagheera and Mowgli, who were the main points of this issue.
I like Bagheera's backstory in this book. Yes, I did.
You did read this.
I did read it. I had to.
And there was this little animal that was saying the sky is falling, yada yada. But the thing was, it was actually snowing.
Yeah.
So it was like a false alarm, and they didn't really know.
The monkey guy always annoys me, though. He does something.
Yeah, that
stupid and
monkey
then he runs
guy's like,
away.
well, what'd you think of this story?
I liked it. I always like Jungle Book. I enjoy reading Jungle Book every time it comes out. Cindy actually was the first one to review it on Dark Avenger Inc.
That's right.
The first volume. The second volume, I think you did, even though I read it. And then the one-shots I read and you did again, and this one, same thing.
Yeah, but I really felt bad for Bagheera, like how he was treated. And
he was treated bad until he ended up on the island,
and that was just, wow. This book is like really like... Bagheera is like the biggest role model of Mowgli, I think, in this... well,
Baloo's gone.
Thing. Well, yeah, Baloo is gone because of that whole thing that happened.
In the previous
if
volume.
you've read the previous volume.
Spoiler!
But, really something else. But it's a great holiday
This
thing.
cover, before you show anything, now, Robert Kirkman, Walking Dead, Robert Kirkman mentioned that Rick could go at any time now because, it's not going to happen anytime soon, because Carl is, now grown up. In this cover, and this is a variant cover, but I got to say, Carl in this cover looks like a young adult, looks like where Rick was when this book started.
Right, and that's The Walking Dead, issue number 161, The Whisper War, part 5 or 6.
Now he looks like an adult.
Exactly, because he's fighting off against the walkers. And in this issue, well, first of all, it's all black and white.
It's always black and white.
I know that, yeah. So it's just Lydia who's going up against the Whisperers, and Carl trying to save everybody, but Carl looked like he was knocked out from the fire and everything. Not to say that he was dying. He was probably unconscious because of all that. And there's just like a whole bunch of stuff that's been going on. You got, what's his name? I can't remember for the life of me. The doctor who gets in on this. And you have Maggie who, thinks that they've won this whole thing with the Whisperers that were gone. And we have Negan who's still with that Lucille. Like, he shows, like, real character of being, like, really weak. And Dwight even saying that you're still crying over a piece of wood. So, just saying that was funny. And the leader of the Whisperer War is just saying that, we return to camp and it's just time to end this. And then you got Rick with his plans. And there's one person that believes in Rick. But when his people are weird and weak, they want to take over whatever is left.
So basically, she believes in Rick, but once they're weak enough, she wants to take him out.
Exactly, and make it all hers. So now, this could lead to a whole next story arc. Indeed. So, lot of foreshadowing going on there. Actually, I should read it like this. Alright, so now we go back to yours. Big two, yeah.
Clone Conspiracy, issue number 3, I believe it is. 3?
Yeah, 3.
Wow. Okay, so Kane admits to the other scientists about his condition, that he's not contagious, and what will happen if Pete ends up, working with you. And they're like, dude, you're dying, but you're not contagious. You could have the cure. Why didn't you tell us sooner? And then they start doing tests on him and Gwen. However, the people at Horizon decide to make a decision. They make a decision that they shouldn't have, which was to report this whole incident to the police. And one of the police is part of the Rebirth program. Like, she was saved. So she reports back to the Jackal. And the Jackal ends up sending his people. They take his Gwen back and Kane as prisoners. Now, Spider-Gwen and Spider-Man, Pete, end up escaping.
Right.
Barely. Versus the Lizard. Barely escaping. Pete finds out that, Kane was taken and so was Gwen. He goes back. Or he actually one-ups the Jackal in a way, but the Jackal kind of figures he would have. And now we all are thinking this is the Jackal we all know and, hate. This fight breaks out and the Jackal's like, no, Pete, I'm really on your side. Stop, you don't understand. And when we get to the end of the issue, we find out the Jackal is Ben Reilly.
What?
Who is back? Who claims that yes, he died, but he found a way back.
How the hell did he get?
I don't know, and we aren't sure if it's Ben Reilly or not yet. But holy crap, if it is Ben Reilly, well, it is Pete. It looks like Pete, and Ben Reilly is a clone of Peter Parker. If it is Ben Reilly, whoa. If this is what Dan Slott was planning all along, this just got very, very interesting. Very interesting. Champions issue 3. I'm glad I got digital. I will not be buying a physical copy. I don't even think I'll be. I know that I'm getting an issue 4 physically, but I think I might keep this as a digital read. First 2 issues were great. This issue had a very good beginning because it continued right from the last issue, which I really enjoyed. And it was really funny how they did the whole Viv and show Hulk.
Oh yeah,
the kiss.
That's totally awesome.
And she's like, I didn't really feel too much. Maybe I should try a different gender. And I love how the guys, Nova and Spider-Man, look over at Miss Marvel, and she's like, I am not in any thought process of this right now. I'm not in the mood for experimenting. That was hilarious. But then they go out on a mission. And I even enjoyed the arguing about who's going to be the leader, or who is the leader. Who, obviously, it should be Miss Marvel. Even though Cyclops is a good leader, it needs to be Miss Marvel. The whole middle, though. The whole mission of them protecting this Muslim group of women. It started to fall apart, in my opinion. the book started to lose its steam because they didn't want the champions to help them, but then they did want the champions to help them. It was up and down, left and right, and it didn't feel right. And then when the book ended, it kind of picked up a little bit, when the champions won. When they won the day and the whole mission was over, it was kind of that feeling of accomplishment of, okay, this is the team moving forward. I didn't care for the middle of this issue, and the route they're going is, I guess they are international, and that's what the point of this issue was, that they're going to go international. We'll see if they're only going to go to one place internationally, or if they'll go to multiple places. That's yet to be seen, but what I notice is whenever Miss Marvel's involved, they only go to one specific area of the map internationally. Let's see if they do switch that up and go to multiple different places and not focus on either America or one specific other place, which I'm not going to mention, but let's see where this goes. Nova issue number 1, however...
Yeah, it said 1 and then now 1.
I don't know why they did that. It's
I don't even know why they did that.
Okay, new art. Completely new art. Sam is... I don't know, they made him... They brought out his ethnicity a bit more here. They brought out the Spanish in him a little bit more, which I don't mind. I enjoyed it. But then you've got the real Nova, who's now back. Rick Rider. And how is he back? And is he back? And you know what was echoing in the back of my mind was, remember what they did to Sam's dad?
Yeah.
So it's all about Sam. He's in space doing his thing as Nova. It was a funny little misadventure he had. And then he came back to Earth. And, he sat down for breakfast, ate breakfast fast, ran to school, didn't realize that he had been in space for a week. And he forgot to put clothes on underneath the Nova costume. So when he Nova'd down, he was in his underwear. And there's this new girl at school. And he's standing there in his underwear. It was hilarious. His best friend, who now knows he's Nova, gave him his spare clothes for Jim. And there was a little funny animation in the middle. It reminded me a little bit of Ultimate SpiderMan.
Yeah.
But they put that little cartoony animation into it. And then obviously he gets called away because the Nova helmet recognizes another Nova. Sam thinks it's his dad, but it's really Rick, who's back as Nova, the original Nova. And then something happens while he's flying around his Nova. He has this, it looks like a heart attack. And then as he's falling down, you got all this, black smoke. So is Rick Rider really back? Or is he somebody else?
That's something to look forward to.
I am really interested. The artwork's a little sketchy for me. A little tiny bit sketchy, but it was good. I enjoyed it. All New Wolverine. I do have this book coming physically, but I do not have it right now. Issue 15. We find out that the woman who has X-23 and Gabby on the boat with her ended up selling Gabby out. But not to S.H.I.E.L.D., not to the police or the Port Authority or anything, which S.H.I.E.L.D. is chasing after X-23, or she's called Wolverine now. It's just hard for me to call Wolverine. But she sells them out to the woman who actually pulled X-23 to Manipur in the first place. And what happens is all new... I keep going. Wolverine, X-23, whatever, finds out that the woman is also trafficking children.
Uh-oh.
And she loses it. And this woman, who is a dirty, two-timing double-crosser, ends up losing her hand for it. Good. And let's just say she doesn't make it out of this book alive for multiple reasons. It's not X-23. It's other reasons. But what happens is X-23 ends up getting taken in by, I forgot the other woman. I believe her name was Olivia, the other clone of X-23. And it turns out that the woman involved in all this, we all called it a mile, or saw it a mile away. It was the woman that originally created X-23 and used her as a machine. Now she has X-23 again, and she's going to use X-23 as a machine again. I hate this woman. I wish they'd kill her. I remember her from previous story arcs. I remember her from reading the origin of X-23. I would like to see this woman killed already. In the most painfulest way possible.
Well, they're going to keep it just to build up the book.
We'll see what happens with Enemy of the State now, but you got to know that she has trigger sense, so now the question is, will X-23 finally have the strength to fight against the trigger sense? At some point, she has to break that what's the word I'm looking for? That trigger. That when she smells that she goes all out. She needs to fight it, and maybe this will be the arc where finally she is free of the trigger scent triggers, like Wolverine. And finally, that's one thing I would think Logan would be proud of, is the fact that she would break that. You know, even if the trigger scent did happen, she'd be able to fight against it now and ignore it.
Right.
That's something I'm hoping for. We'll see. To be continued, though. Interesting. Very, very interesting. I want to see this woman killed.
Alright, Deadpool issue number 23. So this is where Deadpool and I think the girl's name is Eloise, I think her name was, if I remember correctly.
Okay.
They actually are trying to fight over this whole Madcap thing, and they're trying to look to see who Madcap is controlling, because Madcap is located in the stomach of a person, depending on who it is. So as they're investigating and Deadpool doing his thing by, doing that, they go to their friend, and I forgot what his name was, thinking that he had it because of the way his gut was. And, of course, he didn't have it. But I thought in issues before he did, but probably he left or something, but I don't know. So, yeah, I mean, it was kind of an book, but the only good thing about this book is who comes in the end. Cable comes in the end. And of course, it's either telling about the future or whatnot. I don't know what it is, but it's going to pick up really somewhere in the next issue.
The only Marvel book this week, I don't know why. I'm watching you drink and I'm getting thirsty. Maybe when you do your book, I'll go grab something to drink.
Books.
SpiderMan.
Plural.
Yeah, you have. I think I left all your books accidentally altogether.
That's
SpiderMan
fine.
2099 issue number 18. They are questioning Iron Man 2099, whose name leaves my mind at the moment. Let me see. Maybe her name. Maybe she mentioned his name. Raul. Or Paul? Was it? No. It says Raul. R-A-U-L. Isn't that Raul?
Yeah, Raul.
Yeah, who was originally Iron Man 2099, is working for the Fist now. And we find out that he actually starts questioning if he was brainwashed, because he's fighting, he's trying to protect the Fist, and then he's like, wait a minute. I don't know. Maybe they did this to me too. And then he's like, you know what? I know what they're planning next. And we also find out that Miguel's girlfriend wakes up. The baby's okay and everything, but spoiler alert again here, everybody. The doctor said she'll never walk again. So you got Miguel and Elektra and Captain America 2099 going off to prevent the Fist from doing whatever they're planning on doing. There's another character in this book, which I don't want to spoil, but she's in here and she's infecting people and hurting. I forgot what the whole purpose was, but she's there and she ends up possessing a bunch of people. And now you've got Spidey 2099 and Cap 2099 having to deal with basically this in the next issue. I don't know. I'm not feeling Spidey 2099 as much as I should be. Honestly, maybe it's just because he's not in 2099. He is in present day trying to fix 2099. What I think would be great is at the beginning of 2017, he fixes 2099 and goes back to 2099. And guess what? Spider-Man 2099 then could be in 2099 again. It doesn't matter anymore. Because of Spider-Verse, Miguel can go back to the 616 Marvel Universe whenever he wants, because they're all intertwined now in that web. He can get the same thing. If Spider-Gwen could do it between her universe and the 616, and all the other Spider people that are in Spider-Verse can do it, Miguel can do it too. I think it's time that Spider-Man 2099 goes back to the possible future of 2099. Peter David is an excellent writer. I've been enjoying Spidey 2099 since the beginning, but I think it's time that we get out of the present and back into 2099 where Miguel belongs, where the story belongs.
Alright. Going into books.
1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5.
No, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 books.
Right.
But I'll
I
get
put
through
all
them with a
Michaels.
breeze.
I put all Michaels.
But anyway, it's fine.
Yeah, just
Deadman,
abbreviate 'em if
Dark
you're bored.
Mansion of Forbidden Love Book 2. This I have to abbreviate because it's a long book.
It's
But I
very
do want to show artwork. So what it is well, when cardboard comes out of this plastic, very nice.
I didn't like the cardboard that they gave us this time. It was a little bent.
Well, this is a like a regular book. Like you could see the, like what's it called when it looks like this?
Spine.
A spine, yeah. So that's why it's a long book.
This is a spine.
Yeah, and basically it's just Deadman who's trying to find out more about Adele, and we get a little bit of a backstory about her, like saying, you know, that she's angry to find, you know, of who did something to her, but she doesn't remember. And the artwork in here is just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, look at that. The artwork is just, it's beautifully drawn. I have to admit that. And the girl, I can't remember what her name is for the life of me. They say it. Bernice. She actually helps out the investigation and is the only person that can see the ghosts. Remember, Deadman and Adele. And then there's this dark force that they go back about. Nathan, you know, still with the whole in love with Bernice and everything. And there's a little bit of a a irony that happens in this book.
Irony!
Where he actually proposes to marry her and everything, but there's like so much that happens in the house, and this other guy, Sam, that's with her. I have a feeling that he's in love with her too, but she like doesn't really know or see it. And there's like a vision that happens and whatnot. But all in all, though, as the issue gets more twisted in some certain way, there's just a lot of stuff that's actually happening in this issue. But really something awesome. Definitely read this comic book to see what's going on. For that. A long book. Is everything right now?
Yeah, when you're done, just pop in.
Well, you want to talk for a minute while I pop
No,
in?
go ahead. Do it now and then you finish.
Alright, Midnighter and Apollo issue number 3. Midnighter goes to hell to try to save Apollo, from what we saw in the last issue. And he does so, but how to get there is the hard part. Because the Gorgio does all the magic to help him get there. And Apollo, who is talking with Neron, like he just tries to say like, oh, your pride and everything, being a murderer and this and that, that's, you know, why you're here. Basically giving them the guilt trips all around. So Midnighter goes to certain people to try to find a way of how to get to hell and save Apollo because of you know, his love for Apollo, because we all know the story of that. And just saying that, you know, there's still a chance that he's on his way. And here's some artwork also, a little bit more of that, which is good artwork. And I'm really liking this story. This story is actually picking up in great ways where he is in hell, but there's a gun that he finds, and let's just say somebody else has a gun that he's looking for. And he's tied up with a lot of guns for arms to be continued. So this story picks up really nicely. To see about that. Green Arrow issue number 12. This is the new story arc of Emerald Outlaw Part 1. And this book was actually really interesting.
Did you review this Frontline?
I did.
Okay,
which
good.
is why I'm going to give a abbreviated version.
I was just asking.
Yeah, so he is basically wanted because the newscaster, if I could get her name right, Victoria. So they make a new home in this fort place in Seattle that they are in because it's a new life for them. And there's just like this whole Green Arrow backstory that they get to. And there's like this thing that Oliver asks Nate to do for him, which he's not crazy for. Nate is the guy who's running Queen Industries because they think Oliver Queen is dead. So for that, there's this person who they see that's actually causing trouble with using the arrows. And when there were arrows being shot to so many people, I was just like saying, what the hell is going on? Because it's not Green Arrow. So whoever we saw in that drawing that this hobo did is going to play in this story. They could be maybe the Emerald Outlaws. I don't know with the story arc name, but maybe that's what it is now that I think of it. But I don't know. I'm going to definitely see about that. Cyborg issue number 6. This is introducing Variant, who is... She plays a very interesting role in this issue, where she comes back to life of becoming this machine like Cyborg, and she's trying to accept, who she is, and her real name was Agent Taylor, but instead of calling herself Cyborg Taylor, she came up with just Variant, or Variant, however you say it. And she has this, Cyborg just takes her to, everywhere in his mind, just to see, how he works everything, and he basically tries to help her in such ways. And when everything goes so well, let's just say in the end, when they have a mission to do, she actually backfires on him.
Whoa.
Bionic betrayal, people! To be continued. After all that Cyborg did, you get a nice person who does something for you, and then how do you do that? How does anybody do that?
No.
Why am I reading this still?
So just don't even.
My worst book of the week, issue 9. I can't.
Done.
I don't even know if I want to just continue this, because.
Well, guess what? Next.
I mean, first of all, it starts off with her imaginary version of being in the Wizard of Oz. Seriously, because she's going to this psychologist who's, not psychologist, this guy that does the hot dog things. What's his name?
Whatever.
I can't remember, but yeah. And it is just so boring. I mean, she goes to this fighting place, and then she gets the hell beaten out of her and everything, and then there's this new food that she tries that's all magical whatever. This book is just I really just cannot see me continuing it. It is, but in the end she meets up with the Joker. Now listen to this. In 2 weeks, in issue 10, a holiday interlude inside Santa's brain, and in issue 11, right back to where we left off with
Well,
What Do
that's
You
when
Want,
you'll be
Joker?
starting digital.
That's when I'm going to have to start digital, because I just cannot with this issue. This has been twice my worst book of the week, and the cover says it all. Snow. The cover says it all. Last book for me, Death of Hawkman, issue number 3. So in Death of Hawkman, Adam Strange goes to see this person. Actually, he goes to see Hawkman. Carter. I was thinking of his name, Carter. To have a little bit of a talk with him about what's been going on, and that he needs his help with that the Justice League has IDs and GPSs and stuff like that. So he just basically asking him to help him out with the situation that they're in, well, that he's in with the city that's being under attack by what is Hawkman's crew called? I can't remember. But yeah, and we get Despero, who I knew was actually going to be in the coming issues, is the one that's actually behind this, and they're trying to find ways of how they can attack him and whatnot. Goes back and forth to when they work together, and just Despero, who's wreaking havoc and now getting followers that are with him. Things aren't going to look good, and that's to be continued in next issue. Alright, so while you do your book, let me just skip out for a second. So, yeah, be right back.
Alright. I have my 2 lowest books of the week, and let's start with Justice League issue number 10. Doesn't even feel like Justice League anymore, and I know a lot of people are already like, Chris, why are you still reading this? So it turns out that the Justice League go to this guy's house from the last issue. They believe he's the reason why They're being attacked, and I love how, if he's the reason why they're being attacked, why are they all sitting in his house having coffee, casually talking? But anyway, we find out it wasn't the man. We find out the man is like a digital Robin Hood. We heard this before, but the daughter ended up finding his notebook and ended up selling a few of his things to a company for money that they thought they'd need. And oh, I'm sorry, no, she made an app. She made an app with the codes that she found, which was like a genie. And she was going to try it out, but the little brother tried it out first and thought it was a game. And he thought it was a game versus or destroy the Justice League. And he continued to try to play to beat the Justice League. And in this game, now, he sent out basically a call to all supervillains. And what happens is a gigantic fight breaks out between the Justice League and all these villains that were offered millions of dollars if they could destroy the Justice League. And yeah, things don't work out good by the end of this issue for the Justice League. But again, this is a tale of basically, oh, I found my daddy's codes and then I made an app and now my little brother's the reason why minus Superman, by the way, who has not made an appearance at all in this story arc yet. The Justice League, most of the Justice League, is getting beaten up by supervillains and being destroyed now because the little boy thought it was a toy app program. This kind of sounds like the misadventures of the Justice League more than the Justice League main book. This is like when we went from the JLA book and I know a lot of people don't like him, but I did like his run on Justice League of America, Grant Morrison. This is like when we went from Grant Morrison and Mark Waid and moved into the next phase, and things did not equal up to what was left before them with Mark Waid and Grant Morrison. In this case, Brian Hitch is not following up good with Jeff Johns. Now, when Jeff Johns left Green Lantern, he got followed by Rob Venditti, who's doing a pretty darn good job, in my opinion. But with Justice League, he left, and he put it in the reins of Brian Hitch, and the story is not going anywhere. After the crossover with Suicide Squad in January, 90% I will be moving this book at least digitally. We'll see if I drop it completely. I might end up dropping it completely. Now, a book that is going digital because I just can't. Aquaman issue 12, or should I say Aquaman running and rushing and running around all of Atlantis trying to figure out what the hell's going on. Because apparently Nemo is attacking the United States. Aquaman's trying to find out where all this stuff's coming from, running like a chicken without a head in Atlantis. And we find out that the American armies have like their own team of shark warriors who they're going to send in to attack Aquaman and Atlantis. And Nemo basically is still pushing the seeds of this war. America is about to attack Atlantis. Nemo, which is the fake... Sorry, as I reach over to shut the door. Nemo, which is the fake Atlantis, is still attacking America. And then it all ends with, of course... And then, of course, Aquaman tries to get Mira. You know, he talks to Mira about what he wants to do. And she doesn't want any part in this war, obviously, because of what happened in the issue where she finds out that she's the reason for a lot of problems and the deluge. And then you have now the Justice League back again because of what's going on, thinking that Aquaman is behind the attacks on America, which obviously he's not. And the weird thing is, obviously this is a what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? Where the last page basically is not what's going to happen. Obviously, he told the Justice League already who's behind it. The Justice League is probably going to say, "What are you doing about stopping them?" That's about it. I don't think that the Justice League's there to fight Aquaman or blame Aquaman for what's going on. So, Batman issue number 12, or basically, like Michael with Ninjak, except this had internal dialogue. Batman fighting his way through a bunch of soldiers to get to Bane. I love the action in this book. I really like the artwork in this book. And the determination of Batman to get to Bane really shows in this book. And then he gets to Bane in the end, but now Batman has literally worn himself completely out because every single soldier that Bane has at his disposal was thrown at him. Catwoman betrayed him. His team is now compromised, and he's basically on his knees in front of Bane. To be continued. This was an interesting story, but I'll be happy when this arc is done. Detective right now I feel like is going a bit stronger than Batman. I'm not saying that I don't like this story arc, but I feel like this can drag out too long if things don't wrap up soon. Green Lanterns issue number 12. In this issue, you got Simon and Jessica fighting over whether they should be stopping the Phantom, the Phantom Lantern or not. Voltoom is doing something with, I forgot what the, oh my god, why? His name left my mind completely, but he's doing something, some kind of ritual with the Guardian that had the Phantom Ring. We see also that, what's his first name? Frank is losing control of himself. The more he taps into the emotional spectrum, the more it screws around with his mind and with the color of his ring. So Voltoom has to actually calm him down enough to make him, back into the willpower part, back to being a Green Lantern. And what happens is Voltoom is doing something to the Guardian because he wants to use him for something. There's some type of ritual. And he's basically poisoning Frank's mind into thinking that the Green Lanterns are against him and that he needs to stop them at every cost. And then you get that fight between Simon Boz and Jessica with whether they should be attacking him or not, or why he... Simon thinks he doesn't deserve a ring. He didn't earn it like they did. He wasn't chosen by the ring. And then Jessica's like, well, I am a... I have anxiety out the wazoo, and you're always mad. Now, if I was to wear the Phantom ring, I would be yellow. Who would you be, Simon? He's like, I don't know, violet. And basically, he knows he'd be red. And then you get this weird panel of faces where they're both kind of thinking it over in their own mind, whether they're right or wrong. But then, again, Frank shows up, and this time he's there to try. And, right away, Simon wants to take the ring away from him. And what does Frank do? He basically turns on both of them and says, okay, you know what? You want this ring? I'm just going to have to fight back against you. Turns yellow, and he's going to fight them with their own worst fear, themselves. This is going to be a very interesting next issue. I'm really enjoying Green Lanterns a lot. A little bit more than Green Lantern Corps right now. I'm really liking the Earthbound Green Lanterns. Really interesting story. And the Phantom, I have a feeling with the Phantom Lantern that he's going to turn on Voltoom at the end. And maybe he will learn how to harness the power of the Phantom Ring, because it was already stated that the Phantom Ring cannot be destroyed. So it's going to be interesting to see how he's going to harness the power of the Phantom Ring. Not number 1 this week because of something else, but Superman issue number 12. This seems like a very weird transition story. Superman versus Frankenstein. Lois goes back to the Daily Planet, but she had an interview with the Hamilton Horn. And she goes in basically to tell the editor-in-chief that, she didn't want the job anymore. But that's when Frankenstein breaks in and starts to chase the editor-in-chief, claiming that, it's her time. And it basically makes it look like Frankenstein is the bad guy. So Lois actually saves the, the editor. Superman shows up to protect, obviously, Lois and the editor. And it's a really interesting fight between... I love the artwork. I will say that. The artwork between Superman and Frankenstein and everything was awesome. You also have that grandfather again. Sarah's grandfather. I forgot what his name was. I said his name. Cobb, the dairy farmer, and I have a feeling there's something more to him, kind of like Mr. Oz in a way. I have a feeling that Cobb and his daughter are going to play more into a deeper story with Superman later, and that they're not what they seem, because they moved in, if you noticed, after Superman came back in the public eye, and I don't know, there's something. There's definitely something going on with the Cobb family, but we'll get to that. But in the end, we find out that the editor is not really an editor. She's an alien. or a monster, and Frankenstein is there because she's a murderer, a mass murderer, whatever, and Frankenstein is there to put her down or put the monster down once and for all. To be continued. I'm not really a fan of Frankenstein per se. I was never really a fan of Frankenstein. This truly feels like a transition story. I pray. Because it feels like a transition story, and the next issue probably will be the last one. But of all months to do a Frankenstein story, I don't think this was the right month to do it in. So, a little disappointing this time with Superman, just a little bit. The artwork was fantastic, though. As far as a transition story, it's doing what it's supposed to, but I don't know. I'm not really feeling this Superman story. But the good news is it feels like it's going to be a two-parter, like a two-part and done, or 1 month and done, so to speak. So after the next issue, which will probably come out, which is going to be coming out in 2 weeks, we're not going to be seeing any more of the Frankenstein story arc. And finally this week, we have Nightwing, issue number 10, my favorite book of the week, because Nightwing is back in Bloodhaven. You've got Dick, who joins a a teen affected by violence group as a mentor, and he gets taken in right away because the director, I forgot what her name was, Miss Teague? Tease?
I'm back, sorry about that.
No worries. She gives him the job right away because of all the stuff he went through. I love that there was a page, and I was like, what is Dick doing? Where he actually said, I worked with a supervillain for a while, basically outing himself as Nightwing, and then there's this little word bubble that says, that's what I wanted to tell her, but what I really told her, and then it went into what he really told her. Because I was like, did Dick just out himself to this woman?
To who?
To the woman, because he's working he's in Bloodhaven now, and he's working as a volunteer at a people who are affected by violence, so he's going to be a mentor.
Oh, okay.
But he's really there to find himself again, and this all rooted back to what happened in the last issue with Superman, which was really awesome. So, he spends the whole night trying to figure out who Dick Grayson is again, and then, of course, you got the sirens, and then you got him going, well, I can't just, sit around, you can't find yourself in one night. So, there goes Dick as Nightwing, and, you have him helping with the authorities. Bloodhaven is going downhill, and then you get this woman who sees Nightwing on the news, and she's like, that could be help for Bloodhaven if Bloodhaven got its own superhero. And then we find out that, Dick was dealing with, I'm so glad I'm finally working with normal people. I don't have to worry about working for supervillains anymore. We find out that the director that he's working with in the volunteer, to help with people who are affected by violence, that she's the Defacer. And now it says in the next issue, find out who the Defacer is. Obviously, this plays into a previous story arc. Where's the cover? It plays into it's going to play into a flashback in the next issue. But I like Nightwing and Bloodhaven. I really thought this issue, finally Nightwing feels like Nightwing, Dick feels like Dick. It really feels, I think Tim Seeley finally got something here with Nightwing. The artwork's a little bit still sketchy, but it doesn't matter. It really works great. I love that Nightwing's in Bloodhaven again. This book is moving in a really super strong direction finally. Moving away from, and actually Dick kind of said it here, he's moving away from the secret agent BS, all the jumping back into being a spy, and he's going to figure out who he is again and who Nightwing is to the world. And that is awesome. I cannot wait for the next issue. And with that, that's it for this review, guys. We are Comic Frontline, your #1 source for comic-related news, reviews, and a whole bunch more. We try to get you guys video each and every day, so please smash that subscribe button if you're not already subscribed to us on YouTube, because we have, like I said, a video every day, and you don't want to miss out on a single piece of that content. Live shows, Tuesday, Frontline Live, Wednesday, Thursday, Media Madness, and Friday, Dark Avenger Live. Rinse and repeat when the week begins again. You don't want to miss out on a single one of those. You got haul videos, reviews, mystery box mayhem, tons and tons of really great content on here. If you want more content, go over to frontline.com, comicfrontline.com, for even more Frontline goodness. Sorry that these reviews will be a bit late for the next couple of weeks, guys, but I'm sure you understand with the holiday season and all, this is the way it's going to be for
And my birthday next month as well.
Yeah, but that's not going to prevent the
Well,
reviews.
but I'm just saying, you know, you can just reminder.
I'm not getting you nothing.
You know, well, there's Christmas anyway.
I'm not getting you nothing. I'm just kidding.
Oh, you better be kidding.
All
right, let's just...
I get him birthday and Christmas presents, just for the record.
I know you do.
I'm telling them.
Okay, you tell them.
I'm telling them, and I'm also telling them now. We'll see you guys next time for... this is going up Friday, so we'll see. I'll see you guys tonight for Dark Avenger Live. So till then, take care, keep reading, keep collecting, and we'll see you guys really soon in the next video.
Hey, everybody.
Take care, everybody. He's reaching over for no reason.
Yeah.